So it has been around 3 months since my first outing in these, INOV8's new Trailfly Max. Since then, I've run around 100 miles in these shoes, lots of training runs, and the odd race here and there. So I thought it was about time that we filmed a full review video for you guys at home. But I guess the big question is has this new deeply cushioned trail running shoe from INOV8 lived up to my high expectations? Well, let's dive into the video and let's find out. Welcome back, folks. Hope you are all doing well out there in YouTube world, and thanks for tuning in again. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run for Adventure, your friendly, informative, running related YouTube channel. Now, you might have noticed with our previous couple of full reviews, I ran the shoes close to 100 miles, and we're going to kind of keep that theme going because I think it's really hard to tell how a running shoe is going to perform long term until you hit that kind of mileage. And that was actually proved to me recently with VJ's Ultra 3s. I was really enjoying the feel, fit and performance of that shoe. However, that midsole foam did run quite flat once I'd hit that 100-mile mark. So like we always tend to do when it comes to our full reviews, we're going to start off with some stats on INOV8's Trailfly Max, starting off with the all-important price point. So the shoes retail here in the UK for £150, which I would say is kind of the going rate these days for a deeply cushioned trail running shoe. Weight-wise, my pair in a UK 10 comes in at 318 grams. And when it comes to the midsole setup, we've got an overall stack height of 35mm at the heel and 29mm under the forefoot, giving the Trailfly Max a 6mm heel offset. I've got my pair in this blue lime black colourway, which I actually really like the look of, but you can also get the Trailfly Max in a black light grey red option, or this very bright and pretty cool looking heat map colourway, which I actually love, but unfortunately when they sent the pair out for testing, they didn't have any of the heat map colourway available at the time, so never mind. But also when it comes to women's, you've got two options. So we have the blue grey coral light grey, or you've got the ivory storm blue lime colour. As far as the sizing and fit goes, if you've been following what INOV8 have been up to over the last year and a half, you'll know that when they launched their new trail running shoe lineup back at the start of 2024, they went with this new foot-shaped anatomical sort of design across the range. So what this means is you now get a nice roomy toe box up front, very similar to say an Ultra or a Topo running shoe, but on top of that, INOV8 also offer a width option in a lot of their models, including the Trailfly Max. So if you do feel that you've got a lot of width to your foot shape, or you just like that nice roomy feel up front in your trail running shoes, then I definitely recommend checking these out because the toe box is very accommodating. However, I would recommend going up at least half a size, and this is something that I've always done in the INOV8 shoes that I've tested out over the years. So again, with the Trailfly Max, I've gone up to a UK 10, and that seems to work well for me. Moving on to construction, and we're going to start at the top with the upper design first. And I would say it's a pretty standard looking running shoe upper construction. So there's no sort of bells and whistles, which I personally don't think is a bad thing. And INOV8 have kept everything relatively simple and straightforward. So the bulk of the upper is constructed out of this lightweight, breathable, engineered mesh. We've got a nicely padded gusseted tongue and a moderate level of padding around the ankle collar and in the heel, and then a pretty simple looking lacing system. However, INOV8 have worked in their Met cradle overlays, which start at the back end of the shoe, and they're designed to lock in the heel and the midfoot to give the runner that nice sort of secure dialed in fit to keep any foot movement down to a bare minimum. And then it's all finished off with a handy pull tab on the heel and a decent level of upfront protection from a substantial toe bumper. Moving down to the midsole setup, and this is where we see the biggest changes when we compare these to the standard Trailfly. So obviously, first of all, we've got a deeper stack of cushioning in that midsole, hence the name Trailfly Max, but we also get INOV8's new supercritical nitrogen infused EVA foam, which is Fly Speed Pro. So this is actually the highest performing foam to date made by the INOV8 brand, so lighter while providing a greater level of comfort and energy return. And we mustn't forget that this new midsole setup is also paired up with some of INOV8's very bouncy boomerang footbeds. Now, if you haven't come across these before, they're basically a deeply cushioned, very soft pair of insoles, and I personally think they're some of the best running shoe insoles on the market. And finally, moving down to the all-important outsole, and we've got a graphene grip 4mm multi-directional lug design to offer good levels of grip and traction on a multitude of different terrains and underfoot conditions. INOV8 have also worked in their MetaFlex grooves across the forefoot there just to help out when it comes to flexibility, and I actually think they do a pretty good job because for a deeply cushioned trail running shoe, these feel pretty flexible out on the trails. So there you have it, folks, a few facts and figures and a quick breakdown of the construction of the new Trailfly Max. But we've reached that point in the video where we need to get some points on the Run for Adventure board. So if you're new to our full review videos, what we like to do is score the shoes out of 10 for price point, comfort and performance, and the all-important topic of durability. So let's dive in and let's start off with price point first. So coming in at £150 here in the UK, okay, it's not the cheapest pair of trail shoes out there on the market, but when you compare it to other deeply cushioned trail shoes that it's competing against, things like the ASICS Trabuco Max at £160, New Balance's Fresh Foam X Hierro V9 at £140, and Merrell's MTL Adapt Matrix at £170, you can see that that's kind of the going rate for this type of trail shoe. So I think £150 is okay. Obviously, I'd always like to see our running shoes a lot more affordable, but I think £150 is a pretty fair price for the Trailfly Max. So we're going to score them a 7 out of 10 when it comes to price point. Next up is comfort and performance, and I've got to say I've really enjoyed my time running in these so far, and when I initially found out that they were going to be producing a deeply cushioned Max version of the Trailfly, I did get very excited and I really wanted to test them out because I've really enjoyed the standard version of the shoe. So I had high hopes for these, and I'm glad to say that they haven't let me down. I really enjoy this new anatomical foot shape design that INOV8 have worked into all the shoes in their lineup. It's nice to have all that wiggle room up front, especially when I've been running distance. It seems to give your feet enough room to sort of breathe and splay out. And even though I've got a relatively narrow and quite shallow foot shape, I've still managed to get a nice secure lockdown around my midfoot and a good hold in the heel, and my foot feels very secure inside this upper while I'm running, and that's exactly the fit and feel I want from my trail running shoes. Although I will say one thing, the laces in the Trailfly Max are ridiculously long. So once I pull this upper nice and tight around my midfoot, I have to triple tie those laces just to stop them flapping all over the place. Now, I know it's not the end of the world, it's not the biggest problem, but I just feel it's kind of a waste of material. But in general, I haven't had any issues when it comes to the fit, feel or performance of this upper, and it seems to work really well for my foot shape. Moving down, let's talk all about this Fly Speed Pro cushioned midsole. Now, producing a deeply cushioned trail running shoe can be a tricky thing to pull off because one of the important factors when we're running on uneven ground is we need a bit of connection and ground feel to make us feel safe and stable while we're out there running. And sometimes putting a deep stack of cushioning on a trail running shoe can do the complete opposite and cause lots of stability issues. But I personally think INOV8 have got that tricky balance just right in the Trailfly Max. It's been very comfortable underfoot on all the different types of terrain, even longer sections of very firm compacted trail or even tarmac, but when I have come across any technical stuff, I haven't had any issues, and the shoes still felt nice and planted and connected. I think a lot of this comes down to this foam in the midsole. It's soft, it's comfortable, but it's not overly soft. And I also think the addition of the flex grooves working across the forefoot there does make the shoe feel pretty agile and nimble, especially for a deeply cushioned trail shoe. And speaking of the outsole, I think this new and improved graphene grip rubber on the Trailfly Max really has performed better when you're out there running in wet conditions, especially when it comes to grip on wet rock, because, you know, graphene rubber of past was a bit sketchy at times. You would grip on one rock and then slip on another, whereas this new rubber compound seems a lot more consistent in the wet. Obviously, we've only got a 4mm lug depth, so the shoe's not really designed to run in super muddy, boggy conditions, but I personally think the outsole design and that lug depth has actually done a pretty decent job when I've been out there running on slightly muddy trails. And because of all the above, I'm going to score them high when it comes to comfort and performance, so I'm going to give the Trailfly Max a versatile and consistent 9 out of 10. And moving on, last but not least, we've got the all-important topic of durability. And you know, this is something that's maybe been an issue with certain INOV8 shoes in the past, but happy to say these are looking good so far. So no early signs of wear on the upper, the flex point looks good, I've got no overlay peel or anything like that. And this graphene rubber is super durable. So I've got the slightest bit of wear on the outside edge of the heel there, which is a usual thing for me. But apart from that, the shoes seem to be holding up well. So nearly 100 miles run and no issues to speak of. So I'm going to score them a solid 9 out of 10 on the durability front. So if we add up all the scores for the Trailfly Max, they come in with a very impressive 25 out of 30. And I can see myself spending a lot of miles out there on the trails wearing these because they seem like a very comfortable, super versatile trail running shoe that can pretty much handle anything you throw at it. As far as comparisons go, so other trail running shoes that are going to offer you a similar fit, feel and performance, I would say that Topo's Ultra Venture 4's very similar to the Trailfly Max. So they've got a nice roomy toe box up front, they've got a well cushioned midsole, but just like these it's not over cushioned, and a similar lug depth and heel offset. And funnily enough, I really enjoy running in that shoe as well. We've also got the Caldera 8 from Brooks, and that's going to do a very similar job out on the trails. And we've actually got review videos up on the channel already of both of those shoes, so I'll leave a link in the description for those videos. And on that note, it brings today's full review video to a close. So if you are in the market for a cushioned, comfortable trail running option that still feels pretty well connected when you pick up more technical trails, and you like that nice roomy toe box feel up front, then I definitely think the Trailfly Max is worth a closer look. Also, the kind folk from INOV8 have given our viewers a discount link. So if you want to pick up a pair and you go via the link in our description, you are going to get yourself a big 15% discount off of your purchase off the INOV8 website. And lastly, another exciting thing is we're going to be pairing up with INOV8 for this year's shakeout run in Chamonix over UTMB week. If you came on the run last year, you'll know we had a fantastic time. We had shoe demos, free INOV8 trucker hats, we had a giveaway with some amazing prizes, and INOV8 even treated every runner to a very tasty Moody's coffee after the run. Now, if you're going to be in town and this sounds like something you'd like to attend, then we would love to have you along. It's a great way of calming those big race day nerves. Just a nice steady 4-mile run out of town by the river, very flat, no elevation, and a very sociable pace. So watch this space. More details on this year's shakeout run will be coming to the channel soon. But for now, guys, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. It's always appreciated. If you have enjoyed the video and you found it helpful, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be back very soon with some more interesting running content, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. I'm going to score them a very solid 9 out of 10 on the durability front. So if we add up all the points at Run for Adventure for the Trailfly Max, they come in with a very impressive. But we also get INOV8's new supercritical nitrogen infused EVA Fly Speed Prome. And Fly Speed Prome? Yeah, that new foam, it's Fly Speed Prome. Dear me.